because not enough is said about the impacts of this type of culture that is constantly just teaching sight words like this and flashcards and in whole words. Now, 2, 3, and 5 year olds, and sometimes even younger. And so I want to do a little bit of a presentation on executive function. Executive function is a thing, is impulse control, is critical thinking, is like the container in the brain that that hosts, right? Executive function is happens, right? You develop the prefrontal neocortex in the brain, and that holds these skills. So impulse control is there, critical thinking is there, um, cognitive flexibility is there, so problem solving is there, complex problem solving, seeing the big picture is there. So big picture, picture to little picture is there. So a lot of different things. Empathy is there. A lot of different things are there, right? It's about 12 skills that are combined and that work in unison. And during the early childhood years, right? We're building it out all throughout life, but this is like where the container is really, really built, right? Is during the early childhood years. And what we do is we do this. How in an ideal situation this part of the brain is developed is that you have safety, so children feel safe and their basic needs are met. They get to move because we're creatures, and so there's movement. There's also multisensory, so sensory integration, right? And all of this, and so this also happens through attachment. So once these things are there, so there's a caregiver. So in young humans, there's a caregiver that's providing the care, making sure that you eat and that you have a place to live and that you have clothes, right? So there's a caregiver to a child, right? So there's an attachment that happens here so that there's this child's needs can get met. Whoever is carrying those basic needs is carrying the child forms an attachment. And ideally, that person is making sure that this happens. And not only are they making sure that it's happening, this person is modeling as they're providing the care, they're modeling these things. So this is how it works. It works that the person that a child is attached to is meeting the needs and modeling executive function. They're modeling it. And then they model it and then they let a child play. Through play by themselves, they could be playing with them. So it could be by themselves, it could be with other children, and it could be with them. So then this is play. When they're playing, they're trying on. They're trying on this that was modeled. They're trying on cognitive flexibility, they're trying on emotional regulation, they're trying on those things. And when they make mistakes, either Any one of these people, right? They made mistakes. They're guided and coached. By who? By the caregiver. And over time, what that does is that it lets the child now develop those executive function skills. So that's a little crash course on how we build executive function skills. So in order to have academic achievement, we need, and really any kind of success in life, we need to be able to control our emotions. We need to be able to problem solve. We need cognitive flexibility, which cognitive flexibility, y'all, is like, yes, there's 8 different ways to spell the A sound, or 7 different ways. And you're like, which one do I use? That's a perfect example of cognitive flexibility. And so you're build that out early on, and then later, as you learn phonics, you're able to use it. How you build that is by having your needs met, by having executive function modeled, by playing, and by being guided. Then your container, the executive function, gets built. Your frontal neocortex starts developing, and then you get all that other stuff. So I just want to share, right? Let's go back here. How the way that we keep saying that our children are impulsive, that children don't have critical thinking skills, that they don't have these skills. These skills are like that they don't have emotional regulation, that they don't have curiosity, right? But what we don't talk about is the fact that we have eliminated, one, children are not spending enough time with their parents and their primary caregivers, right? Our kids are in daycare from the time they're 8 weeks old. So that's that. Then our parents are tired, they're exhausted after work, and then they spend a lot of time with kids on electronics. So the electronics have instant gratification. When you have electronics, here's a pad, you need something, there's no waiting. Don't response, don't response, don't response. I don't like it, I change it. I don't like it, I change it. There's an ad, I skip it. Right? Anything that I tell this pad to do is instantly gratifying me. That does not build executive function. That does not build executive function. And then, even for people living in poverty, or with low resource, years ago, 50 years ago, you had a toy, you had a little toy, you wanted it. If you had the money, you would get it. If you did not have the money, you would have to wait to get it, or you would have to make something like it. Either way, this builds executive function because you have to wait. You either have to be creative, you have to be patient, or creative. So what happened is that as time, like today, right? What happened is that even people who don't have money, like coming up, like I literally had to save so much to get a new pair of shoes. It was crazy because shoes were expensive, right? But now, even if I don't have money, I can get a pair of shoes for $5. I don't have to wait, right? And so, or even if I get a toy, maybe the toy is $35, but I can go on Temu and get something like it for $5. And so a parent that has low income or low resource can still go get this. So what happens is that there's no wait. There's no wait. There's no save. There's no create. Right? So we have lost executive function in that way as well. Right? So one, we're losing executive function in the time that children are with parents being modeled. Two, we lose executive function in that we have access to a lot of things, even at low resources. We have access to a lot of things. It's the cost of progress in some ways, right? Fast fashion, just fast manufacturing in general. So there's a loss of executive function there, but there's also a loss of executive function here. There's a loss of executive function here because we are at 3 to 5 years old. We're even as young as 2, really. In preschools, we're putting kids in front of flashcards. So it's like flashcards, words and words and words and words. And the kids are remembering the words not because they're reading, they're remembering the words like if they were pictures. So this is no different. It's the same part of the brain that is identifying a cat. That actually looks like a mouse. Let's say it's a cat. And then I show them the word cat. Totally unrelated, right? But because I'm showing it as a picture, it's not the mechanism that's actually decoding. It's learning the word as a picture. So it's no different. If somebody reads the word friend and they learned it as a whole word, it's no different than if they just see a picture and they know that this is a house. It's no different. It's the same mechanism. So they're not really using their skills to decode this. They're reading it as a picture. So we're just showing kids a lot of pictures, right? But what's happening is, one, they really don't really need to read, but we're teaching them to read like this. And we feel really good about it, not understanding that we're taking this time, this beautiful time where you should be building executive function. And let me show you how much more powerful it is. Maybe it moves slower. Maybe it moves slower because maybe your child doesn't doesn't have these 60 words in a flashcard and they just know it and they impress you. Maybe they don't have that. But when you show a child, right? And now you're like, okay, let's write the word top. And they have to, ah, top. This is a process. We're building, we're building that executive function because we taught them step 1. Now step 2 was to hear it. Step 3 was to construct it. Step 4 was to read it. If I just show them top and I'm like, point to top, here's top, practice top, and they just read top, you missed out on this entire process. Now it's impressive because you can get 50 of these because it's just 56 pictures. It's impressive, right? And it's faster. But here you build out the executive function because you had to literally take these pieces. It's like you took blocks. You took these pieces, you built you heard something. So there are pieces here, right? Here's the letters, here are the symbols. You attach meaning to the symbols or you attach sounds to the symbols, right? You attach sounds to it. So that's already metacognition. You listen to this, you heard this. These are words, and you can I make it ear? Ooh, look at me. You heard them. Chun, chun, chun. You heard them, heard the words. You pulled apart the sounds, right? You connected those sounds to the letters, the symbols, abstract symbols that you assign sound to. Then you constructed a word, and then you read it. This is the process of building executive function. And when we're just giving kids whole words and pictures, here's a picture of a flower. I mean, this picture of a flower, and we just say flower. We skip all this. So now we have less modeling, instant tech, less human modeling, instant text, fast. We'll call it fast fashion, but it's really fast toy culture. So no impulse control there, right? And then we rob children of process and literacy because we're rushing everything. And so since we're rushing everything, we are violating their process natural development. And then we're like, oh, we don't understand why the kids have no executive function. We didn't build it. We didn't build it. We violated attachment. We introduced a technology that we have not evolved, that young minds have not evolved to use before their brains are developed during those first 6 years. We took away waiting and creativity. We don't let children play, which is how they also build executive function. And then we deprive them of process and literacy. There's no reflection. Then all books are completely animated. First, we went from illustrated, and now we are just animating them. So that we also rob them of this, right? So then we're wondering why the children don't have executive function. So this is why my process is so sacred. And it's very similar to the Montessori process and many other processes. So it's not like it's just mine. But I really move into sounds, words, right into building sentences, right? Then we read and reread. In the process, what else do I do? There's dictation and correction. Why? Because correction with coaching. Because we also know that how we build executive function is through coaching. It's through coaching. Is you are an indigenous person, you're weaving a basket, you show your child how to weave their basket, they try to weave their basket and it doesn't work, and a parent coaches them, models it some more, gives them another chance. This coaching is how you build executive function. So since we're not out here weaving baskets, we can weave words. That's dictation. That's spelling correction. With coaching, with care, we're weaving words. It's this mechanism right here, y'all. The process is what is going to both get our kids to read and build their executive function, which is what we need. This is what we need. And then we're going to add stack for impact. And we're going to co-create and interrogate meaning. So this is what we're doing. This is the program. How? With a caregiver. Why? Because attachment. This is brain based. This is supporting of human evolution. This is humanity centered literacy instruction. And you're going to forgive my little chicken scribble, but this is what we do, right? We're in class. So we could always ask questions. But I just want you to see, right? See that this is the process. We can't violate children's process. So when we're building words, that's what we're doing. We're not just building the word. The word is not about cat. The word is about cat. Yes, I have the words here. Let me bring them down. Let me recognize them. Let me build them. Cat. Yes, I'm doing this with my caregiver. Attachment. Yes, I make a mistake. There's redirection. There's collaboration. We are building. That's not the same thing as a bunch of, you can't do that with a bunch of sight words. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can't do it. And then some people are going to be like, but don't we teach them sight words too? Because we also teach them we also teach them one, right? And in a way, these are also sight words. So we're going to also teach them as sight words. No, because we're going to tell them, we're going to walk them through a process. We need you to learn this so that you can build the sentence that we're building. Now you're building the cat, the cat. So it's because we are not building it as a flashcard. First of all, we're constructing. We're saying, okay, here it is. How many sounds do we hear? The, this is the, and this is this is the, what, right? Now, which one of these is was? We're creating choice. We're making this dynamic. Here's the, we're going to add one more. Was and on. And we're going to build each of them as if they were a puzzle. Let's take this and put it in order. We're doing all of that construction. If you follow how I'm teaching you to teach the sight words, I'm giving you process. When I'm giving you two to compare, on or three, my and the, which one is it? Which one is it? Which one is it? When I'm doing that, that's that cognitive flexibility. Everything that I'm showing you has a reason why you follow the process. Because I care about decoding, I care about your children reading, but I also care about their executive function. Because we need to build both, right? So we're doing that. And then we're saying, we're going to learn these words and we're going to put them in a sentence. So that's no different than like if your child is building a block, a tower, and you're trying to find the right piece that fits here. That teaches mental or cognitive flexibility. This is the piece that we need here. Then we're going to build this with the sounds. The cat is. This is what we need here. On, which one do we need? Oh, we need this one. We need this one again. Now it doesn't have a uppercase. We're going to build this one our sounds. This is different than let's memorize 56 words and be impressed because our child can read a lot of words. This is not about production. We're not here for production. We're here in service of children. So the process is there because we want to both raise a reader, but we want to raise the person, right? We want to create a reader. We want to empower the reader, but we want to create the young child. We're doing this in service of their personhood. Does it take a little longer? Maybe. At times it does. At the beginning it does. But does it work? Is it in service of our children? Yes. Does it support a child's natural development? Yes. So that's what we do.